So anyway, my name is Matthias Plyle. You can call me Dr. Plyle since you're new. Some of you may be new to the university environment. At the university, we typically go with the title, doctor or professor. I'm not that crazy about titles, but there are professors that expect you to say doctor or professor. So get used to it. Some of you from high school might be used to saying Mr. and Miss or Ms. To address your instructors at the university. Most of us have PhDs. So you would say doctor or professor. Professor is usually the safest bet to use. So that's just a little word of advice. But like I said, I'm not, if you say Mr. Plyle, I'm not going to get all upset about it or anything. Okay. And there's my email address. You might want to write that down in case Blackboard's down and you can't communicate with me through Blackboard Learn. We'll get to that a little bit later. So there's this weird image in front of you on the screen. Does anyone have a clue what that is? And go ahead, if you have any ideas, throw them in the chat box. I'm kind of curious if anyone's seen something like this before. An LED, a model, 3D printing, a mold, a model of something. Something really small, vacuum molded plastic. Those are all interesting answers. It's actually, take a look at the scale there. You see this scale? It's 0.0 microns, and then it goes up from there. So these are very small units. So it's something very small. So that's good. It's actually a pressure sensor. And we make these in our clean room at UNM to teach students about how small things are made. So I teach a senior level course on this, and Dr. Jackson teaches another 2 courses on microsystems design and fabrication. So if that's something that interests you, you might want to take those classes later on in your career path. And it's a lot of fun making these things. So it's basically, you're seeing the back of a silicon wafer. You see a hole that we etched in the wafer. And then this is the other side of the wafer here. This is about 500 microns deep. So 500 microns is a 0.5 millimeter. Okay. And those classes are in mechanical engineering. So they're listed as 400 and 500 level classes. So you can get dual credit for them for graduate school as well. So you can take a class when you're a senior and it counts towards your master's at the same time. So you can double dip a little bit. So anyway, this is a pressure sensor. What you see, the yellow wavy thing, is a membrane. That membrane's made out of silicon nitride. It's about a micron thick. And then you can see the image of some electrical lines, which makes up a Wheatstone bridge. And it's on the front surface of the pressure sensor, the surface facing away from you. So we're seeing through this thin membrane. So mechanical engineers can make really tiny things as well as really big things. So you guys are in a great field. It's very broad. You can do space stuff with it, and you can make little tiny sensors as well. So sky's the limit for you all. Okay, a little bit about me. Give you a background where I'm coming from so you can kind of see what my strengths and weaknesses are. I have a PhD and a master's degree in physics from Texas Tech. Hopefully that doesn't throw anyone off. And then I worked for about 12 years in industry at Texas Instruments and then later at Philips Semiconductors here in Albuquerque. Philips, closed shop back in 2003. So I moved to teaching at that time. The economy was pretty low. There weren't a lot of jobs at the time. So I went to teach at CNM. It was called Albuquerque TVI back then. And then I stayed there for several years and was teaching how to make semiconductor devices and MEMS devices, and started a new program over there with my buddy Fabian Lopez. And then after a while, I moved over to UNM. So, and I've been at UNM since 2008. And I've had a National Science Foundation Advanced Technological Education grant that's been renewed and updated over the years. And I started that in 2004. So, you know, that's basically the breadth of what I do now. I wear many, many hats. And I also work as the clean room manager at MTTC at UNM. And I also run this grant. So I've got lots of hats I wear. You know, parts of it is teaching, parts of it's research, and parts of it's supporting small industry and researchers in our fabrication facility. Ooh, someone else showed up. All right, we're up to 87 now. Yay. So I use Blackboard Learn, and I'll give you a little tour of Learn in a bit to show you how the class is set up. Most of you probably already have seen it and have logged into it. If not, I'll show you how to do that. That's our teaching platform, our learning management system platform. Most teachers are using it now. They're either doing web enhanced or they're doing full online. I think this course is considered a web enhanced course because we typically will teach it face-to-face when we're not in this COVID pandemic thing. But if it goes well online, we may keep doing it online moving forward. So later on, I'll have you fill out a survey for me to tell me what you liked and didn't like about the course and the teaching and the platform, and that'll help us make a better decision how to improve things in the future, because we're always trying to improve. And and if we should go back to face-to-face instruction. For some people, they like online stuff better because they don't have to commute, and they can get what they need out of an online course. All right, so most of our communication will be done through Learn. I use the term Learn and Blackboard interchangeably. Okay, it used to be called Blackboard, then it was called Blackboard Learn, and now UNM refers to it as Learn. Okay, it's all the same stuff. So you need to check in on Blackboard frequently, look at the latest assignments, the calendar, and that sort of thing, and I'll show you where those buttons are. There'll be detailed instructions for all of the assignments. If something's confusing, feel free to message me and let me know. And then all of your submissions, all of your assignments will be done through Blackboard as well. Okay? So everything's electronic. We don't lose papers that way. We know when you turn stuff in. So it works really well for us, and once you get used to it, you'll probably like it better as well. Okay, labs and graders. So we do have a lab. Raul is going to be your lab TA. He was going to join us today, but his dog actually ate his cable to his internet. So that was kind of funny. Usually the dog eats the homework, but this time it ate the cable. So he'll be joining you tomorrow if you're on the Monday, Wednesday lab schedule, or he'll be joining you on Thursday if you're on a Tuesday, Thursday lab schedule. Okay. So any lab related questions, you'd address them to Raul. And again, you can do that through the Learn messaging system. The grader is Vincent Santino, and he also shows up in the messaging system. So you can email him on homework questions. You can always copy me. Oh, we got 2 more people. Let me get them in here. So, you know, they will respond to your questions, usually within 24 hours, if not sooner. So I've asked them to check the messages every day, at least twice a day. And I'll try to check them about the same periodicity as well. Yeah, any questions with lab or homework, you ask them first. If you don't like the answer, you can always come to me, right? But they've done this before. They're pretty good. Raul is, I'll give you a word of warning, he's a little hard to understand. He's from another country, but he's a really nice guy and he wants you to all succeed. So he will work with you and show you on Zoom. Now he has to do it on Zoom, how to get through the SolidWorks software. So you'll be using SolidWorks in lab to do some lab work. And then later you'll use SolidWorks to do your project with your team. Okay. See, how do we find out which lab group we're in? So you should have gotten a schedule that tells you, if you can look your schedule up on UNM, it tells you if you're on Tuesday, Thursday twice, right? That means the first section on Tuesday is lecture from 3:30 to 5, and then the second thing you do on Tuesdays and Thursdays would be lab. If you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, it means you're on the Monday, Wednesday lab schedule. So you go twice a week. Okay. SolidWorks similar to AutoCAD? Yeah, it's similar. It's not exactly the same. The buttons are different. It's more for doing mechanical engineering design. AutoCAD can do that, but AutoCAD tends to be used in construction a lot and that sort of thing. So you don't have to have an iClicker. Don't worry about that. We're not using iClickers this semester. I think I took it off the bookstore list of stuff you're supposed to get. So if you bought an iClicker by accident, go ahead and return it. Or you might have to use it in some of your other classes, your face-to-face classes. Let's see. All right, that's about it for the questions that I have so far. So let's continue on. So we do have a syllabus. Okay, so I invite you to look at the syllabus. I've updated it. Let me know if there are any questions or if something weird is in it or you can't read it or whatever the case may be. And I'll fix it and update it. It's always improved. I tend to update the syllabus every semester. It's not designed to be extremely precise in terms of what we do every week. Sometimes we get ahead, sometimes we get a little behind. It just depends on how well you guys are doing and what the situation is in terms of holidays and, you know, COVID and snowstorms and all of that kind of stuff. So please read the syllabus, read through the whole thing. I'll show you where it is in a little bit when we do the tour of Blackboard. And then you'll have a better idea what I'm talking about. Okay, what are the keys to success in this class? You gotta show up. So in this case, it means come to the lectures, right? The other thing that bites everybody in the butt is not doing their homework on time. You have to do the homework. You have to turn in the homework. If you skip the homework, you'll have 2 or 3 letter grades lower, and that's really bad. And the homework's not terribly difficult, but it is work, hence the term homework. Okay? So it does take time to do, and the whole purpose of it is to give you practice and give you experience in engineering and start thinking more like an engineer and a designer. Read the book. The chapters are real short. and well written. They did a really nice job with it. And you have two books. You have one for lab, and the lab's real step-by-step kind of instructions on how to use SolidWorks. And then the book is more about engineering, design, and drawing. So you will be drawing some sketches by hand. I want you all to learn how to draw by hand so that if you're in a meeting somewhere or meeting up with a colleague at a restaurant or something, and you guys have a great idea, you want to be able to sketch it out, okay? So please, please take the time to do the sketches and practice doing that. And then communicate with each other. You're welcome to work with each other on homework. Just don't copy each other's work. If you start turning in your friend's lab and stuff like that, Raul's real good at figuring that out. Okay, so do your own work, but you can work together and check each other's work out, or ask each other, hey, how did you do this? Or this is what I got. Is that what you got? And working collaboratively helps you learn. But if you're just copying from each other, then you're not going to learn. Okay. Our quizzes is also collaborative. The problem with doing quizzes collaboratively, we have the quizzes set up so the questions are random and the answers are in random order as well. So if you're taking the quiz together at the same time, and you have FaceTime or something like that, what'll happen is your question one will be different than your buddy's. And then the answer might be A on yours and C on your buddy's. So I did have a case where a pair of students worked together on a quiz, and one student got a 25%. The other student got like a 95. And then the student got a 25 said, how come I got a 25? I did the same answers as the other person. So it's like, well, you didn't do the same answers. You got to at least read the question and read the answers. So, okay. Let's see what else we got here. How complicated of the projects will we be doing in SolidWorks? As complicated as you want. We've had some real simple stuff over the years, and we had some really complex things that people develop. So it just depends on the team and what you guys want to do. The whole point of that is to demonstrate that you know how to use SolidWorks, you know how to come up with an idea, you know how to work with a team, you know how to write it up, you know how to present it. You're going to be doing presentations and that sort of thing, and work as a team. So we'll have more on the team projects moving down the path. Okay, so communications is important as well. Okay, so try to be engaged. I know being online and watching me drone on and on and on and on can be rather boring at times. So in the next few lectures, I'm going to do more interactive things. We'll have polling questions and that sort of thing, which is kind of like how I used to do iClickers. And, you will get points for those as well. So we want you to stay awake, and that kind of interactive stuff helps a lot. Okay, are we expected to have any CAD experience? Absolutely not. We start from ground zero. If you have CAD experience and SolidWorks experience, it'll be an easy lab for you. Okay, and then you can help the other students, right, work on their CAD stuff. So that's always good to do. Will you get SolidWorks after it? I think your license is good for a year. And then if you need it next year in another course and you're not in one of my classes, shoot me an email and I'll send you the license information. We typically have enough licenses to go around for the upper level students as well. Right now we have 200 licenses, so we should be good for a while. And even though we have 90 students in this class. Okay. So keep asking questions. These are good. If you have a question, probably 10 other people have the same question. So we're going to be doing some online polling. And so for today, I only have one polling question. It's very simple. All right, and I see some of you are talking with each other on the difference between SolidWorks and CAD. That's great. You feel free to have conversations with each other during the class. It helps keep you awake and engaged. So assignments. Oh wait, someone asked another question. What kind of math, if any, will we use? Second order partial differential equations? No, I'm kidding. Basically, the only math you'll really use is like maybe a little trig, because you got to do some angle stuff when you're designing. And then some basic algebra, like if you're calculating how much your product's going to cost or how much square footage you need when you're making your product, that sort of thing. So not a lot of math. That's why we waived the calculus requirement we used to have for this course, so that students can start on their mechanical engineering courses earlier. Okay, and then if you pass this class, you can get into the next class, ME260. And I don't think you need calc for that one either as a prereq. So a lot of folks have trouble with calculus. The first time they get it is when they come to college, and it's hard. And you know, we have tough professors. Okay. Now we provide the license and serial number and all that, and instructions on how to download SolidWorks. And also we have a link on what your computer, how good of a computer you should have to run it. So if you're doing everything on your phone, and then you're probably going to have to find a laptop or something to use. Campus does have computer labs that you're welcome to use if you come on campus. We're still open. But you got to wear a mask and all of that. All right, we're going to have lots of assignments. I encourage you to start a study group. You know, it'll help you. This class is rather easy compared to some of the others in terms of intellectual merit, but in terms of the amount of work you have to do, it's a lot of work. Okay, so I'm trying to train you guys to stay on top of things, time manage yourself well, and all of that. And then practice makes perfect. So the more homework you do, the more practice you have, the better you'll get. You can download SolidWorks today. You know, Raul will help if you run into problems. I had him test it out, and I also downloaded it on my laptop. Make sure, you know, the licensing stuff works, and it all worked well for us. But if you get stuck, he can help you out. Okay, let's see. Yeah, and the weight of the assignments varies. So you'll have some assignments worth 25 points or 50 points, and others worth 200 points. And the project's worth a lot of points. So, you know, assignments are worth a certain percentage. That's in the syllabus. Exams are worth a certain percentage. That's in the syllabus. The project's worth a certain percentage. That's in the syllabus. And then within each of those categories, different things are worth different amounts. Okay. So you'll get a flavor for that. And we may not grade every single thing that you turn in, or if you have 10 problems that you turn in, we may only grade 2. Right? So that we keep the load for grading down for the grader, because Vincent actually grades 2 of my classes. So combined, we have over 150 students. So when we turn in an assignment, he's got 150 assignments to grade. So, you know, I often will tell him just grade, you know, problem 1 and 7 or something like that. Okay. Do you have exams? Yeah, you do have chapter exams in this course, but no midterm or final. Okay. Your final is basically your project. You know, you're applying what you've learned and show that you can do it as a team. All right. So it'll work pretty good. Okay, we're still doing good on that. So if you get sick and you can't do your work, or you're in the military and you get some orders, or got to go do some training for a couple of weekends or a couple of weeks, just send me some documentation to that effect, and then I can exempt you. I may exempt you from some assignments as well, or I may just let you turn it in late. Okay. So if you're feeling sick, you definitely want to get checked out because you may have COVID. COVID has a lot of different symptoms. It attacks different parts of the body depending on your genetic makeup, your age, your race, all of that stuff. So if you're not feeling good, call the SHAC, which is the Student Health and Counseling Center, and they will direct you properly. So they'll probably ask you a bunch of questions and then tell you where you can get tested, okay, for the COVID antibodies. All right. And if you're an athlete, you can definitely send me, your schedule and that kind of stuff, and remind me if I don't, if I mark you absent and you have a legitimate excuse, I can go fix things and learn, but don't wait until the last day of the semester, to check on your absences and that sort of thing, because that's really hard for me to fix. So some of you are having a side discussion on running SolidWorks on a Mac. It's probably not going to work really well. Some students in the past have figured out how to turn a Mac into a PC. I'm not a whiz at that, but I've been told that you boot up in a Windows environment and then you can run Windows programs on a Mac. So that's an option to try. Since you're engineers, you may want to dive into that, but you may run into trouble. Yeah, some folks, you can run virtual machine on a Mac. So if you're an expert on that, share that information with your classmates and help them out. Research about boot camp, et cetera, et cetera. So I did that with one of my Macs years ago. I actually bought software that made it easy for me, and because I had to run certain things on a Mac, and it worked pretty good. But then I stopped doing that. So now I have a PC laptop, right, and a Windows laptop, and then I've got Macs for everything else. For me, I like having that, but I understand you guys don't have a lot of money or grants to get money from to buy equipment. So you got to do the best you can with what you got. There may be a way you can get a laptop from UNM for free. They may have loaners. I would suggest first getting in contact with the undergraduate advisors, JJ or Anime, and see if they have an in on that. Last semester, I think the library had laptops you could check out. So there may be an opportunity to get, a computer you can use at no cost. Also, you can use lottery money, you can use scholarship money and all that to buy a computer if you want to. All right, let's see, let's continue on. So assignments use rubrics. Rubrics is like a tally sheet, right? So all the different parts of the assignment will have line items in the rubric. Then my grader or I, depending who's grading it, can check those boxes. And you will also be able to access the rubrics so you can make sure you did everything and you understand how you were graded. So when you get something marked off, the grader will put a comment in the assignment as to what you didn't do right. So they'll either do it as a markup or they'll put it in the rubric as a comment, depending what the error is. And occasionally we'll post some of the answers for the more complex problems and questions. All right. We will review some of your work in class, so that's why we use a cover sheet. So the cover sheet's the only sheet with your name on it and your face, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So that's why we use a cover sheet. Now, the other sheets may have a space on top that says name. Don't fill it out. Leave it blank because you're going to do this electronically anyway, and it'll all be together. And then that way I can pick a few assignments and show, you know, some common mistakes, and we can learn from that, as well as show some really good work. But I won't mention your name, okay? Because I know some of you don't like that. So, you know, we'll keep that part private, but then you can get an idea of what's considered a really good drawing, what's considered a, you know, a not so good drawing, or common mistakes people make that you may make as well. So we can go over that. And then for the exams, you'll do much better. Okay, so we have a project in this class. We have labs, we have papers, presentations. So you will do a presentation at the end of the semester as part of your team project. Everybody on the team will have to present. We will post videos that you can watch, and then we'll either have quizzes or assignments based on those videos that you'll turn in to broaden, you know, your learning outside of the book. Okay. They're not terribly difficult assignments, but they're a lot of work. Okay, so when it comes to writing stuff, no plagiarism, okay? You cannot go to Chegg and copy it exactly. We do have plagiarism checkers and all of that stuff, and we'll find out. If you want to quote someone, yeah, put it in quotes, you know, and then you have to cite it, do a citation, a reference, right? And we'll have some resources on how to do that properly. Assignments are usually turned in as PDFs, so you can convert a Word doc into a PDF. It makes it a little easier for us to grade and also for us to read. Sometimes Word docs don't translate well, or if you use, you know, Google Docs or something like that, we might not be able to see it quite right. So it's really easy to convert anything into a PDF. Most, you know, Word type document software can do that pretty easily. So you can do it in whatever software you want and then convert it to a PDF. But check the PDF, make sure it looks good. All right. A lot of times people will turn stuff in and they never check the PDF, and it's like missing pages and things like that. Okay. If you turn things in late, you'll lose points. And you lose more points the later it is, and then at some point we don't accept anything. Okay, so if you're sick or something, then we'll give you extended time, but you got to let us know. What should we know about the style manual? In terms of citations, you can use IEEE, MLA, there's a whole bunch out there, Chicago style, whatever makes sense, but just stay consistent within any given document. You know, there's online stuff you can use like BibMe or something like that, where you can put in all of your references and it'll give you the right style output, and you copy paste that into your Word doc. But now Word has that capability as well. So I would recommend learning about that. And you can just, you know, go online. This is what I do. I go to YouTube. I find a YouTube video on how to do references in Word and citations, and it'll give you a wonderful tutorial on it. So yeah, Easy Bib, that's what someone put. Thank you for that. So Easy Bib's another way you can do it. Okay, so, and this is for your other classes and future classes as well. So if you know, aren't good at figure captions and section headers and organizing things in Word, take the time to learn it, because once you learn it, it makes all of your other work much, much easier. If you go in and manually put numbers for sections and manually change the font, or the, you know, big font or dark headers or whatever, you're gonna, you know, and then you miss one heading or you misnumber something by hand, it's just a royal nightmare. APA is okay. Someone asked if that format's okay. Just about anything, as long as you stay consistent. You know, use standard formats. Let's see, assessments. So assessments are things we do to make sure that you're learning something. So we do lecture polling, okay, and we track that. We do online quizzes and exams, okay, and the quizzes are limited to a certain amount of time. Now, if you need extra time, you can go through the UNM, I forgot what they're called. I think they're called ARC, but they're basically assess you, and then they send me an email saying that you're allowed more time on exams and things like that. So that's fine. We'll just add, you know, and we'll double the time or give you 1.5 times the time if that's what you need. Some people are, you know, dyslexic, or, you know, they have a learning disorder that forces them to take a little longer time. So we want everything to be accessible for folks. So we do our best to provide accessible things. So if you're in that category and haven't approached the UNM ARC people, I encourage you to do that. And if you don't know who they are or how to contact them, send me an email, and then I will send you the link, and you can get in touch with them. And then what they do is they verify, you know, what you need, and then they come back to me, and then we provide that accessibility. Accessibility Resource Center. Thank you for that. It's ARC. So, you know, don't worry about any stigma or anything. This is like normal stuff. It's just like someone in a wheelchair needs a ramp, right? It's not judgmental. I'm not going to grade you differently than other folks. I'll just give you whatever accessibility you need and additional time. It's usually additional time. And now that you're, you know, at home, you're in a quiet space, or you can find a quiet space. Some of us get distracted with noise and things like that. Okay. Let's see what else is on here. Homework, you know, of course. For those of you with accessibility issues, you generally don't get extra time for homework. It's mostly for exams. But if you need extra time for homework, discuss it with the ARC people. And if they say, yeah, you get extra time, then we'll go ahead and allow for that too. Okay, but the problem with homework, it piles up and you get further and further behind. So we try to give you ample time. You usually get at least a week to do homework when we give you homework, unless it's something real simple like read a chapter, take a short quiz. Then we might only give you a few days. Team projects and presentations is another way we assess what you've learned in this class. Okay, if you want to chat with me or send me any messages, do it through course messages. Okay, and there's a little cartoon here on course messages. So if you contact me through there, the nice thing about Learn course messaging system is it keeps all the messages related to the course in one place for me. And the same for you. Okay, so you can go in and see all the messages you got and all the messages you sent related to the course, all in one place. So it's a nice record, right? And if I promise you extended time, I do that through course messaging because you had some issue. And then if I forget, I can go back and look at that and say, oh yeah, that's the one that I said it was okay to turn in late. All right, so it just helps me stay organized, and it should help you as well. You can set up an appointment either by sending me a message in Blackboard saying I'd like to set up an appointment, and I'm available at these times, and then I'll send something back saying, yeah, let's do a Zoom at this time, and I'll set up a Zoom meeting. I'll also do I'll have some office hours posted in Lobo Achieve. Lobo Achieve is our scheduling system for appointments. So you probably have already integrated with that with the advisors. They use Lobo Achieve all the time. So I'm going to post when I'm available. And then what I want you to do is, if you want to meet with me, try to put something in Lobo Achieve at least the day before you want to meet. Because I look at Lobo Achieve in the morning, and if I don't have any appointments that day, I cancel them all out, because I don't want to have to go back and look again you know, every 20 minutes to see if someone added in there. So try to make your office hour appointments early, at least a day before, if not sooner. And well, you can always send me a question through Blackboard messaging, and I'll try to answer it that way. And that might be a faster turnaround time for you. But if you want to talk about, you know, other classes or advisement or something like that, you know, or if you want to talk to me about a letter of reference for an internship, that kind of thing, you can make those appointments through Lobo Achieve as well. And I'll probably have some sort of online office hours, but I think I'm going to stick with Lobo Achieve because that's a nice scheduling system. Okay. Okay, no questions yet, so we're still good. Okay, so Learn. We also call it Blackboard or Blackboard Learn. This is our learning management system, and all the materials are in there. Okay, as listed here. I'll give you a tour on that soon. Announcements. So what I want you to do before Thursday's class is get into Learn and push some buttons, and if things don't work or you don't understand something or can't find something, then you have a bunch of questions that you can ask me at the next lecture in the chat box, and then we can go over that, okay? So the required materials for this course are posted. I'll show you that shortly. They're the ebooks. You should have 2 ebooks show up. One's for the lecture and one's for the SolidWorks lab, okay? Now this goes with the other class, so we're gonna ignore this. So do you have any questions at this point? Oops. Okay, so far no one's got any questions. All right, so now I always like to do some sort of, oh, here's a question. Do we have anything due this week that we should be working on now? Yeah, there's a cover sheet assignment that's due on Friday, I think, and introduce yourself discussion board that I think is also due like Friday, Saturday, or something like that. And I'll show you that. Someone's asking, how does the lifetime access work after the class? So you can actually access your Red Shelf books through Red Shelf. So you'll have an account with Red Shelf. So after the course is done, 2 weeks after our course is finished, you can't get back on to Learn to look at anything. So if you want to keep any assignments or copies of lectures or whatever, download them while you're in class and put them somewhere, Dropbox, on a stick, whatever you want, if you want to come back to it later. Because 2 weeks after the course shuts down, you don't have access to Learn. But your Red Shelf account will stay open, okay? And they have some instructions and things on the Red Shelf page on how to do that. How many people per boy, you guys have lots of questions. How many people per final project team? Usually we like to keep it around 8 because we have so many students in the class. We can entertain the idea of going down to 5, but you can imagine when you have 90 students and you have 5 per team, that's 18 teams. And you guys all have to present. So, and you all have to watch each other's presentations. So, you know, we like to, you know, with big classes, we like to keep it around 8. And that's pretty good because it's a lot of work. So if you got 8 people, you know, it's not as much heavy lifting for any one individual. Okay. The teams are not randomly assigned. You self-select into your team. So that's a real important point. So get to know your classmates, right? So I think there's 4 students from La Cueva High School. You'll probably end up wanting to be on the same team unless you don't like each other, which is fine. but you're going to have to get 4 more people on your team. So, and so I have a total number of 8. And if you have other students or other classmates that you've worked with in other classes and want them on your team, that's fine. So you'll self-select. All right, now let's get started with getting to know everybody. So this will be the last thing we'll do today. I might push out the assignments a little bit. I'm going to create a breakout room, or set of breakout rooms, actually. Let's see. Where are the breakout rooms? There they are. So Zoom is creating 17 breakout rooms. So there'll be 5 to 6 of you in each room. You're going to be randomly assigned to a room. You'll get a little thing on your Zoom thing that says join breakout room. So you'll join it, and then you'll see 5 other people in the room. So what I want you to do for the next 15 minutes is go around the room and introduce yourself. Say something about what you like to do, why you think engineering is for you, maybe some skills that you have that might be applicable to the project. So if you already know SolidWorks or AutoCAD or something like that, you might want to mention that. You know, and you can exchange some contact information. You can also talk to each other through Blackboard and message each other through that as well. And just get to know each other. So write down every person's name when they're talking about themselves, something about them, a couple of interesting things, and save that paper. I may have you summarize this and turn it in as an assignment later, okay? And it's also for you to get to know folks and start making those contacts. All right, so I'm going to create the breakout rooms, and the computer decides where you're going. I'm going to open the room, and you should get an invite. And just accept the invite and go to your rooms. And hopefully everybody will be in a room in a minute or two.